Welcome to Micronations, a free online browser game where you attempt to build countries and economies with kids in the neighborhood and in neighboring neighborhoods. Let's join the game. Alright, so number 29, this is our name basically. You can be 1 through 100, you get randomly assigned. I'm going to go ahead and create a micronation right away. Should assign me one. Alright, so our micronation is called Fencingham, and right here this is a house, so we have sovereignty over this house. We had a rebellion against Hirolito, which appears to be up here, so they're probably an inactive micronation. And then over here we got Clownland. Okay, so I like this flag. Let's first, before we start anything, let's go up here. So you can sign in. So when you're here, you can sign in your micronation or your business if you have one or two, and then your personal account right here. So I'm going to go into here. You get a better view. So it looks like I'm right on the edge of the map here. So I'm going to go ahead and, since I am a premium member, I'm able to edit the map once per hour. So I'm going to just continue building this mountain range, I guess. You can take things off the map and leave them, well, it's a hill range actually, but it's symbolized with a mountain. You can take one thing or remove one thing off the map per hour with a premium account. So it does help a little bit with strategy, but it's mostly for just building a map. Okay, I'm now going to go back into my micronation, and I'm going to see what kind of kids I can draft here. There's a lot of kids here. So I'm going to look for ones that are good at prospecting. We have some here. And we're going to go around and try to prospect. Let's see if we can find some more. It doesn't cost anything to draft kids, but you only get them for a half hour. Oh, this guy's also positive at prospecting. So we're going to head up here. We're going to issue some currency. Micronations are allowed to do that. See if we got anyone else. Another one? Wow. Gold mine out here of prospectors. Prospecting failed there. Put that up a little bit. So this exclamation point means that it's already been prospected, and that doesn't reset unless a parent goes on it. Now these symbols right here, I should explain, are kids. This South Korean symbol here, or this Korean symbol I should say, is just symbolizes a kid because it kind of looks like a kid. Okay. So this guy's actually carrying a resource, so he could start constructing a base, but right now I'm just trying to prospect. Looks like not much out here. Another one. Wow, 4. So we're going to head south because it doesn't look like there's too many areas north to prospect. Now it's better to try prospecting. You can prospect on any tile with a question mark. It's better to do it adjacent to a tile that has resources, which is symbolized by the plus sign. Success. I'm going to issue currency. Look at, there's nothing out here. Okay, now I'm going to draft someone that's fast, with fast quickness, so I can start claiming some of these bases that were owned by the previous micronation. I'll use this guy, he's fast. So here he comes. There's absolutely nothing out here to prospect. Wow, we have to go really far north. Okay, there's some resources up here. Okay, so we're going to want to go down here because it's adjacent to this. Alright, so he's arrived at this base, which is owned by Hirolito, which is a micronation. So if it's solid like this, it means the micronation directly owns it. If it's blinking like this, it means it's owned by a business, which is SY Holdings, but it's under sovereignty of Hirolito. So I'm going to just claim this base. Head over here. If it's upside down, that means it's incomplete. I'm going to prospect out here. Failure. Prospect here. Failure. And this is under, well, for some reason Hirolito has a different flag here. I don't know what's up with that. So I'll just claim it. Probably just some old bug. Okay, so I have sovereignty over this, but I do not directly own this. I'm going to issue some currency while I'm at it. And I'm going to go up here and claim this. Oh, there's another one out here. Wow. Look at that. So now we can also look at all our conscripts so far in their current busy time right here. So got a few seconds to wait. I'm going to claim. And I think there's one more out here. This is a complete one. So the more bases under your sovereignty that are complete contribute to your currency's value. But the trick is you don't always want that value high. Especially if a lot of other entities own your currency. You want to try to diminish the value of your currency to decrease their buying opportunities. Okay. Their purchasing power, I should say. Okay, so we're still. Whoa! Look at this. They have even more out here. Okay, wow. Guess I'll just keep claiming all these. Problem with that is that's going to jack up the value of our currency quite a bit. Too much, actually. So I'll leave that one as is. Well, this one's incomplete, so it won't affect it, but we'll still claim it just in case we want it later. Okay, sociability neutral. I'm going to release him now because I don't think there's any other bases that were owned by Hirolito directly on the map. He failed prospecting there. I'm going to head down. Okay, I'm going to issue some currency. Currency's now worth $7.50 a piece. I'm going to release this guy. This is the guy who had high quickness. I don't need him right now, so he'll go back into the house he came from, and he'll be ready again, I think, in like 30 minutes after his contract ends. Now, businesses can hire kids, not conscript them, and they can hire them anywhere that they have currency that the house accepts. And a house will accept currency if it's under the sovereignty of the micronation or if it has at least $1 worth of that currency. See what we're at here. Okay, we have 4 conscriptors. We can see what kind of time they have left. They all have about 20 minutes. So their contract is only 1/3 over, and they've discovered one, I think, so far, 1 or 2 tiles with resources on it. So we should be all right down here in a bit. We could actually get resources down there eventually. Now, if you actually want to claim a tile, you do have to put a base on it. Here. So these are all for the taking. Anyone can go on there and take the resources, unless I put my own base on it. Failure. Issue currency. It's down to it's worth 60 cents now in US dollars. Anyone else on it? Yeah, there's one other player, number 53 right now. So this game is highly strategic if you have about at least 3 or 4 people playing. If you have 10 people, it would be absolute madness. One of the most intense strategy games, but it's all about trying to get people to play these games. It's pretty difficult. Almost got to pay people, which I may have to do instead of advertising. Pay people. Okay. Alright, now that was the situation was a lot different about 10, 15 years ago when I started releasing these games, because the culture was different back then. People would actually play these types of games, because they take a little bit more imagination, and they are pretty complex, and that generation of gamers, the older, probably my generation and older, mostly the older guys actually, they would play these types of games, usually. My generation did considerably too. They could handle it. They could mentally handle it. But the kids these days, they are really, their minds are absolutely swamped with stimulation, and it's hard for their brain to like handle these kind of things. Usually, they need more stimulation than something like this that looks very basic and is mostly a mental game. We're going to issue some currency and prospect. So yeah, that generation of gamers is getting really old now. Like my generation and the boomers are, basically retiring and dying off, and that's really bad for the gaming culture. So now it's a lot different. Here 10, 15 years later, there's very little interest in my games. Whereas back then I had a little bit. I had like a cult of interest, you could say, in the games. Now I could modernize graphics, maybe that would help a little bit, but I can't, because I just like it like this. This is how I play. Alright, so we are at, let's see, conscripts. Yeah, we got to wait a little bit. We've been playing a while. We can end the episode, but we're off to a decent start, so we'll be back for another episode soon.